The federal wage in the United States is currently $7.25 an hour. Now, this can vary by state, but every state has to meet at least $7.25. This was put into place in 2009 by the Fair Labor Standards Act. The first ever minimum wage was put into place by Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1938 and was 25 cents. This will equal about $4.45 in today's terms. While the Congress has increased this by 22 times since 1938, it is still not enough to sustain the working class and their families. There's a variety of benefits that comes from raising minimum wage, and these include increased job opportunities, having a wage that keeps up with the rate of inflation, giving workers more localized spending power, reducing poverty, reducing welfare, improving tax revenues, reducing the wage gap for women and minorities, and creating a more equal wealth distribution throughout the economy. So the first thing that would happen once the wage is increased is the employee wage would keep pace with the inflation. Although the wage was increased in 2009, the actual value of wages earned at our minimum wage was 7.8% lower than the wage was in 1967. The minimum wage only reflected 37% of what the average worker earned in the U.S., and this was in 2011, which was roughly almost 10 years ago. Raising the minimum wage makes it simpler to keep your wage at the pace of inflation, which is very important. It also gives workers a better opportunity to spend locally and shop within their communities. Raising minimum wage would result in revenues increasing within each community, which is very important. Local dollars are important because they have almost twice the direct and indirect value that outside dollars have, which is why it is more important to shop locally than shopping with corporations or in wholesale. The workers who need it are able to meet their basic needs more efficiently and are able to shop within their communities because shopping local is more expensive, but once the minimum wage is raised, it will be less expensive and more accessible. It can also increase job opportunities within the communities. More demand leads to expansion on local businesses, which leads to expansion on job opportunities. Increased spending leads to the possibility of more job opportunities as well, which is very helpful. A more discretionary income will give families a chance to support more businesses, especially those that are local. Another benefit of having the minimum wage increased is that it reduces the employee turnover. So as an employee becomes more experienced on their job, they will probably want a raise. And many places do not do this right now because of the minimum wage. Wage increase is in demand, so if an employer does not give a raise, many workers will seek other employment that raises pay based on experience. And if the minimum wage is higher, then they might not want a higher raise because they already have a good pay. Reducing turnover will reduce hiring costs and keep experienced workers and keep their workers with the company longer, giving them a better reputation and wanting people to come work for them more. It can also improve tax revenues. So by increasing minimum wage, an increased tax pool is created. This generates more revenues for necessary services within each community. Another very important thing that raising the minimum wage could do is reduce the welfare programs. Many people in the United States earning minimum wage have to rely on government funding as well as their wage. So they use food stamps or welfare or anything else just to supplement their basic needs because many of these people have large families or just any families at all, any children or other people they have to take care of. And $7.25 an hour is not going to help more than one person. Raising minimum wage could decrease reliance on government funding as well. According to research done by Derek Lartaud on kqed.org, for every dollar the minimum wage is increased, spending on government assistance drops by $5.2 billion. Raising the minimum wage would save the government money. Now, raising the minimum wage could also reduce poverty, which is very important. Raising the federal minimum wage in the United States could potentially raise as many as 900,000 households out of poverty. Those who are poor but employed would see an immediate benefit. It could also reduce the wage gap for minorities and women in the United States, which is still very prevalent to this day. Although there has been a focus on equality in the workforce since the 1980s, the wage gap between the men and the women grew by 0.1% from 2016 to 2017, which was only 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. Raising the minimum wage will help encourage wage growth more naturally and efficiently. It could also create more fair distribution of wealth throughout the United States economy. The value of our wages has decreased since 1980 for middle-class households. Increasing the minimum wage would result in a greater distribution of the economy's wealth, directing the attention on the working poor first and then the middle class, and so on. In conclusion, raising the minimum wage has many benefits to our economy and communities. This is something that everybody should find positive because of the benefits it would provide to our country. I hope my speech has opened up your mind about the minimum wage and will help take this into consideration as a positive aspect. Thank you.